Vice Mayor Tom Reed. I will be filling in for Mayor Penny in his absence. And we're going to start the morning with an invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to serve our community. As we begin this meeting, give us wisdom in our decisions, patience in our discussions, and the courage to always do what is right for the people we represent. Bless our city, our residents, our first responders, our staff, and those who serve our community each day. May our work today be guided by integrity, respect, and a genuine commitment to the common good. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Carly, would you please call the roll?
Nininger.
Here.
McAleese. Thompson.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
Penny.
All right, this time we're going to conduct the agenda meeting and for the August 25th regular commission meeting. You all have the packet in front of you. We've got item number 1, a quasi-judicial hearing for a special exception from Crystal Zamora, permitting manager with Gulf Coast Marine, on behalf of property owner Max V. Elson Jr. for 7140 South Shore Drive South, South Pasadena 33707. We will have the we'll have the consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes. And new business, I will ask our city attorney to read the multiple things we've got coming up this time. Thank you.
So we have ordinance number 2026-01. You want me to read the whole ordinance?
No.
Oh, okay. And then we also have ordinance number 2026-02 that amends the appendix chapter A 198 fees. We have ordinance number 2026-03 adopts the fiscal year 2026-2027 budget. Resolution number 2026-04, which amends the salary pay plan sent forth in resolution number 2025-14. We have resolution number 2026-05, which appoints the sheriff of Pinellas County as the police department of the city for the period of October 1st, 2026 through September 30th, 2027. And then we also have motions to approve interlocal agreement with Forward Pinellas for planning and mapping services and or special project work as amended. We have a motion to appoint Vice Mayor Thomas Reed as the city's representative on the PSTA Board of Directors.
Thank you, Kristen. Appreciate that. Is there any questions or discussion? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Let's go down to the next one. We call this administrative workshop to order. Could we please call the roll?
Nininger.
Here.
McAleese. Thompson. Here. Reed.
Here.
Penny.
All right. Got a few items to go over this morning. First up, our city audit presentation with CBiz CPAs.
That's me.
Brandon, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Alrighty. And it's on. Yep, perfect. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Brandon Lopez. I'm a partner with CBiz CPAs, and we're your external auditors. And I'm here. Yep, absolutely. And I'm here today to go through the ACFR, the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2025. And I'm going to go through some, highlight some key sections, but if there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to go through. And if you have a copy in front of you, I'm going to reference some of the page numbers so we can kind of go through them together.
Did he bring his copy?
All right. And then we all, actually, yeah. And then we also have This is the EMS,
Right.
the EMS report. All right, so we're gonna get started first with the ACFR, so the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, that's the bigger, report. And one thing I wanna mention, and we're actually gonna go to printed page 1. And that's the Independent Auditor's Report. And this is really what we as the auditors provide, right, based on all of our procedures. It's what's called our opinion. And this opinion is what's called an unmodified opinion. It's a clean opinion. It's really the only opinion you as the city and as a commission want to be associated with. So we're very happy to let the commission, let the city know they received an unmodified, a clean opinion for this year. Meaning, the numbers that are reported and presented can be relied upon to make decisions, and there were no material significant adjustments. And before I continue, I want to mention and give credit where credit is due, is because we're here today with that unmodified opinion, with issuing by June 2026, which is the first time in, I believe, 4 years that the city is in compliance and submitted on time to the state. Obviously, we know over the last couple of years, there's been transitions, there's been the hurricanes, there's been a lot of circumstances why. But Heather, Gerald, and their team, it's a lot of hard work that goes into this, right? There's a lot of requests, a lot of questions, and every time we had that information that was needed, they were there to give us that and give us that on a timely basis so we can meet that deadline.
Yeah, and it wasn't easy, I'm sure, and congratulations. It's really
Absolutely.
something to be commended.
Absolutely. So just wanted to make sure I mentioned that because it's a very, very big accomplishment to get to now. And then the goal is now every year, especially with another year under her belt and other years working together, is to get this issued even earlier. And that's our goal, working with Heather and the team. The next section I just want to mention, we go to printed page 4. And real quick, this is what's called management's discussion and analysis. So these documents are pretty lengthy, so over 100 pages, a lot of information. But this section, the MD&A, management's discussion analysis, is about like 15 pages, and it does a good job of giving the reader an overview of last year and this year. What were some of the changes and fluctuations? What caused some of those? And gives the reader that good overview of the year. So if there's ever anything that you want to read in more detail, I always say the MD&A is a great one because it gives you basically the entire overview of the year and the operations and some of those changes. The next section, we're going to go to printed page 18. And this is where we get into the financial statements, the basic financial statements. And what I want to mention here is obviously we go through our procedures to make sure that these numbers are consistent, they meet the accounting standards, and can be relied upon to make decisions. But more importantly, because it's a governmental entity, we have to follow government auditing standards. There's certain compliance procedures that we have to do. So we're doing a financial statement audit, but also a compliance audit. And one of the reports that we issue is to the Florida Auditor General. And one of the things that they require us to do is what's called a financial condition assessment. How is the city doing? How is their health? And what we basically do is we do a 5-year trend analysis of the city, and then we also compare it to its peers that's given to us by the state. And based on that analysis, if there were any issues or trends that were kind of going in the wrong direction, we would have to report that in writing and communicate that to you and also to the state.
What's that office again, Florida?
This is the Florida Auditor General.
And who's that fall under?
What's that?
Who does that fall under? That's the CFO?
Yeah, the state of Florida
Okay.
CFO.
All
But
right, that's right.
yeah,
That's good news.
That's good news. And even better news is based on the procedures we performed, no issues identified.
Perfect.
Of a positive year, 2025, a healthy year for the city. So again, very positive things to come along this year.
Thank you for clarifying.
I'm just gonna fast forward a little bit. We're gonna go to printed page 80. And I always like to highlight this because, sometimes for municipalities, this is always a pretty big number. And we start to look into the pension liability. So on printed page 80. And here, it kind of gives you a 10-year trend analysis of the pension plan related to the firefighters' retirement fund. And that first column is our September 30 column. And if you kind of go all the way towards the bottom, there's a line item that's for 3.1. It's the net pension liability. The reason I want to highlight this is if you look at the trend, we're seeing that liability go down. And that's what you want to see. People always ask me, oh, what percentage, what numbers should we be? It's very difficult to say you need to be at 70%, you need to be at 80%. But what you do always want to see is how are we trending? And as you can see, we're trending down, meaning the city is meeting their requirements of the contributions on a year basis, and the investments are performing well, right? And if we look back on how the markets were doing on September 30, a very healthy year for that investment plan, which helps reduce that liability and continue to go down. So again, very positive to see that liability going down. Yeah, absolutely. And then the last section we're gonna highlight is on printed page 112. So this gets us to our compliance reports, printed page 112. And here, it's about 3 or 4 compliance reports. And because we're doing and following government auditing standards, we have that compliance section where we're not testing controls, but we're required to get an understanding of the processes and what management is telling us, hey, to this transaction, we do A, B, and C. We're not gonna test it, but we need to get an understanding to make sure it's designed appropriately, and then we'll walk through, is kind of what they call it, we'll test the design and implementation. So, all right, for this transaction, you said you do A, B, and C, are you actually doing it? And if we saw any issues, we would have to communicate that in writing as a recommendation or as a way to improve processes. And in previous years, we've had some of those recommendations, but I'm very happy to say that this year, 2025, those recommendations were implemented. We have no findings, no further recommendations for 2025. So again, a great year. Heather and their team put in a lot of work, and it shows in these reports.
Yeah, Heather did a great job, your whole team. I mean, getting this done on time for the first time that I can think of, it's great. And I'm sure that you guys worked together to get that, so I.
Yeah, absolutely. And one good thing with, in our relationship, it's not just, 3 months for the audit and then we'll see you next year. It's really throughout the year. If there's any questions, there's a new transaction, we're here to help, because if we can all get on the same page, months before when it comes time for the audit, it makes it a lot smoother because we've already kind of spoken about it. And then the last, which is the second report that I provided, the smaller one. This is a separate report outside of the financial audit, relates to the EMS reporting. And in there's a schedule that gets submitted, and we have to test the expenses in the different buckets to make sure what we said we spent it on is actually what was happening and the money went out. And basically what our reports say, based on the procedures, no issues identified, everything was in compliance with the agreement. On the EMS report. So I know we went through a lot and more high level, but again, very strong, positive year. But if there's any specific questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those.
Do you all have any questions for me? No, great report. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It was again great seeing you guys, and
Thank you.
I know I said it, but Heather did a great job, and we're looking forward to next year being here even earlier to get
Love
this
it.
reported.
Great.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Alrighty. Good seeing you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Good seeing you.
Thank
Have
you
a
so
good one.
much.
Good seeing you. Take care.
Heather, you might as well just stay and we'll jump to the
Okay.
finance report.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Big day for finance today. We have
Yeah.
special
Big
guests.
day.
You're on stage.
Yeah. Okay, so he kind of alluded to the fact that what he talked about today is a lot of compliance. We're in compliance with the state statute that says we have to do the audit on time. We have to do this EMS report, send it to Pinellas County. So as I kind of talked today about my department report and then later in the budget, I'm going to point out some stuff that I want you to keep your audit report with you. It'll make more sense, I think, as we go through.
Okay.
But, so, my quarterly report, I have some highlights of the work that's been done during this period. Obviously, the big one is the audit was finished and submitted on time. Worked on the budget. We had this, you got that ARPA funding years ago, and we still had to do an annual report on that, nothing's changed, we're in compliance with that, so we did that. Went to some training. As you know, I've been working with FEMA all the time. So far this year, we've gotten about $282,000, so I'm pretty happy with that. We still have some open projects that we're working on. with the debris being the biggest one. So we're gonna cross our fingers that everything goes well and we can push that one forward, because that would be a really great impact to next year's budget.
Are we still waiting on money from the previous hurricane? What was that
17,
one?
Ian, Irma.
No, we got that.
That's
Yeah.
all set.
Yeah, we got it, yeah. That was good.
Takes long enough, doesn't it?
Yeah,
But
so
at least you
now-
get it.
We're on Helene and Milton.
Okay.
So we also are going to come, Alex and I, the IT department and I, we spoke to Vertex. Because now Alex has some time here with the city. They're gonna kind of decide what Alex can peel off of the Vertex contract to reduce that monthly fee. The quote that I had gotten from them is included in next year's budget, but I do expect that that will come down when we sign a new contract based on the reduced level of service that we need from them. So we'll come with an updated proposal from them for your guys' review in the coming months. A similar situation, we have to talk about the sanitation contract. That's gonna be done in December. So we're working on that, and we'll come to you in the coming months and talk about that. And then this I included about our insurance. I think Carly has in her report today, and then later on when we talk about the budget, we've met with our insurance company having to do with the claim for this building. Some things have changed, so we're gonna change our approach, I think, for the coming year. So we'll talk more about that. And then the significant transactions that happen between April and June is listed out there. A big one, the positive thing on there is that we got the money back from the grant for the Bayview Pavilion, so we were happy about that. Yes, yeah, we were really happy about that. The next page is a summary of the revenue and expenditures for the general fund. Generally, everything's pretty well on target. We're, at the time of this report, we were 9 months through the year, so 75% done. So when you look at the year-to-date column, anything that varies from 75% is kind of where you want to draw your attention to. The first line, obviously, the ad valorem taxes is the highest revenue that we have. We're pretty well finished with collecting for the year based on the timing of people's payments and stuff like that. Everything else is pretty well on target. No concerns there. All the departments, I've sent them last week their budget to actual, their detail report, so they can see exactly what makes up these balances. Everybody's pretty well on target as well. I don't have any concerns. I will be bringing you a pretty detailed budget adjustment that I'm gonna need to do. I'd really like to fix or adjust the line items. You know, I might need to take some money out of this line item and move it to this line item within departments and stuff, just based on operations from this year. The next page is a listing of our assets, our cash and investments in each fund. Pretty healthy as well. Like Brandon mentioned in the audit report, you know, we have a healthy fund balance in all the funds. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, or I can come back when we're ready to talk about,
When you really come back.
when I really come back.
Does anybody have any questions on
Yeah.
her current report?
One thing that I didn't realize, and I talked to Heather about, when you see 97% of the ad valorem in, that's it. I mean, it's because the time, I guess people have to pay by March. If they don't pay by March, that money, you've got what you've got, and that's all you're gonna get. And it goes to some kind of a collection or,
Well, so at April 1st, it's delinquent. You're right. Everybody's supposed to pay by the end of March. On April 1st, they're delinquent, and then they do a tax certificate sale. And so somebody buys that, you know, somebody pays the tax, and then now that becomes a lien attached to that property. But we get all of that money once that cycle gets all the way finished. Something that I was gonna mention, and I'll reiterate later if you want, the way that your ad valorem had been budgeted is we were counting on 97.5% of the total, which means we were not counting on everybody taking advantage of that early payment discount. So I don't agree with that approach, because I'd rather count on only the 96%. And then,
Makes sense.
maybe we, not everybody does that, so we would expect the revenue to be a little bit higher than that. And that's what we're running into here. That's why it's only 97% of that amount. More people than we had counted on took advantage of that early payment discount. So,
Okay. Anybody has any more questions? Let's see, who's gonna be our next victim? Terry's got a nice smile. She wants to come up next. Oh, yeah, by all means. Hey there.
Thanks for the compliment. Good morning.
Good morning. What you got for us? Besides, you need a new car.
Yes, so our lovely Maverick has done it again. We thought they had finally straightened it out, and we went 2 weekends in a row where it wouldn't start on Monday morning. So I talked to, well, we had a part of our department head meeting, we talked about it, and I talked to Alan J. They're willing to, they have vehicles available. So we found a Toyota RAV4 that we could trade both the Maverick and the Nissan Pathfinder. So trading both of those in, and it's an $8,000 difference. So I still had $5,000 left in my budget. Yeah, it's been at the shop, I think, more than we've had it. It's just, they take it for a couple weeks, it doesn't do it, they send it back, it does it again.
So that's not part of like the lemon law or anything, is
So
it?
apparently fleet vehicles do not qualify for lemon law.
The 22, they gave you 22 in trade, which is pretty much the MSRP of that when you got it, if I remember correctly.
It's not too far off.
Yeah, so that's
So I'm
terrible.
not upset about that.
It's really a shame. I mean, we have a Ranger and we love it. I mean,
Yeah.
really, knock on wood, haven't had any
It's
issues.
a great little pickup when it runs.
I know,
It looks great sitting still.
when it runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys are okay with that, we had
Sure.
5,000 left in the budget, and I'm rounding
We
numbers.
take a vote or
makes
just
sense.
consensus?
Just consensus, but, so she's got 5 in that line item that was not used for the original vehicle purchase. So we
And then we
need
need 3
Three.
3 from a different budget line item, so
Okay.
that's what we need to ask permission for.
in the
Okay.
budget to be able to move that. I've talked to Heather
We have
about it.
consensus?
Thank you.
What, remind me, what line, just for, where was it coming from?
Capital outlay for equipment.
Equipment,
Sorry.
okay. I just want to be able to know where we're taking the 3 from and moving it over.
Gotcha.
Well, now that you got a Toyota, my mother just gave her 1995 Camry to one of my daughters that had 130,000 miles on it. Runs like it's brand new. So you're not getting another truck for a long time.
And that's fine. We do have it in our capital, but
No,
it's way
just
out,
wait.
and we just
Right.
kind of
You shouldn't
push
have
them
any-
as we need to.
Shouldn't have any problems with the Toyota.
That was kind of my thought. And the GMC that we purchased earlier this year has been great, so. Not that I'm superstitious or anything. So the other thing I have, that I wanted to talk to you about is the fee study analysis. We did get 3 prices. One came in at below the 35,000. So we would like to go ahead and go with them and get that going. I know the big issue is, of course, this was supposed to be, the fees were supposed to be changed by July 1. So that is I don't know that they had any idea that this was not a possibility, but since as long as we're moving forward, I think they're okay with it. I just have concerns about, I want to make sure we're moving forward. So, we are going, if you guys are all okay with it.
You guys
The
okay?
Matrix Consulting Group came in at 34.5, so, the other 2 one was right at that 35 mark, and the other one was way over. So, those are my kind of big things. Any,
Progress on the car wash? I mean, we can see visibly, they've built up the lot, it looks like. And
Yes.
Torn J's down, they're gone.
yes.
Do we have a time frame for these?
So we have the permit application in. There were some corrections that needed to be made. We're working with them on that. There is an issue with the neighboring property on the other side of the alley. They have, their fence and their shed are encroaching on the alley, so we're working with St. Pete, because that house is in St. Petersburg, not in the city. So we're working with St. Pete's Code Enforcement to have them take care of that. They have given them till, I believe, the end of the month before it goes any further in code enforcement. So,
Can that potentially hold up the process of them building the car wash by the encroachment?
so yes and no. The only portion that is a concern is the alley. So currently, if they don't remove their encroachments, the 16-foot opening for the alley is a concern for the fire department and access. And they are proposing to go to almost to the property line.
Okay.
So there are things that they could do, that we could issue the permit and they could do to move forward, but this needs to be taken care of before they can
How far does it encroach?
close up that alley. Is it about 5 feet?
Oh, wow, that's,
Yes, yes, it's significant. Yeah, it takes our alley down, it took the alley almost to 9.6 or something. It was really, but the way Jay's was laid out, it wasn't an issue because at that end of the alley, it was wider because of the way Jay's was. So once they tore it down, it became pretty clear that that was an issue.
how long has it been like that? I mean, is there a chance of hostile
Since I've
possession?
been here.
Is there a chance that the owners of that house can claim hostile possession and
It's a
and
right
not
away.
fix it?
So I
that
don't believe that's an
attorney's question?
issue.
Could they claim hostile possession if they've had it for years, encroaching on us?
I mean,
But it's a right of way, so I don't think that's
I don't think so.
And it's like a shed, right?
Yeah, it's a shed and a
Yeah,
fence
it's not.
Okay, good.
and the
Yeah.
driveway.
Adverse possession, not hostile.
That's a very tough
Yeah,
argument to make.
I figured it would, but it's curious. Sorry.
The permit is ready to be issued. They have not picked up yet.
Who's that? I'm sorry.
The retail space,
Okay,
so,
okay.
but it's,
Oh, that's gonna be sitting there for a while. I spoke with somebody involved in that project, and it's gonna be quite a bit before they move forward on that. So,
that's news to me. They're not responding at this point, but,
yeah,
okay.
so.
Any other questions?
Any other questions for Terry? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Chief, let's get you up here. Love all our response times. The needle's hard right.
Yes,
Looks
that's where we
good.
want them. Good morning. So just starting at the top, we did, a new hire started in June. Christian Burton Jenkins, he does come with both fire and paramedic experience, so that's really nice. Doing very well so far. Of course, you see the stats on prevention inspections going pretty normal. Let's see, what else? Of course, the compliance engine's been a big help, keeping an eye on that. We still have trouble with people understanding the system, but with coaching, the contractors and business owners seem to really get a handle on that. And it just helps us keep track of those necessary testing and inspections that are done by providers, such as sprinklers, fire alarms, things like that. We did, very excited, the first time since I've been here, we had a web EOC training at the county EOC, and every department head was there. So, yeah, so super excited for the next training, and, you know, that kind of collaboration we can manage when we all show up there. You guys saw the police reports and the emergency response.
Heather Guadalupe. Did you see that?
What is it?
Under public education? It's okay. Good. Whoever she is,
Our Lady of Guadalupe.
she was there.
Okay.
First paragraph. That's okay. Just a little, just pointed it out.
Right.
I know, sorry.
No, you're good.
That's one of Carly and my favorite things.
But like Vice Mayor Reed pointed out, if you look at the response time reliability report, not only are we doing a good job, but our neighbors. So we appreciate that. You know, when our auto aid units get there quickly. Really working with the building department, we're doing a lot, believe it or not, 2 years after the storm, a lot of the finals for the hurricane restoration. So We're, I think, wouldn't you say, Terry, starting to close a lot of that out, which is nice to see, you know, after 2 years of work. So, of course, the two or three large buildings still a concern. Matter of fact, I had to go visit one the other day because, you know, they're required, even if the building's empty, to maintain all life safety systems. So just making sure they're on top of that. We've had an understanding that they are working on it and making sure everything's good to go. We did have a citizen pop in the station, wanted to talk to us, concerned about the boats. He had heard that Gulfport changed something and all the Gulfport boats were coming to us. I happened to talk to Chief Hernandez of Gulfport at the same time, unbeknown. Chief Worth was talking to their deputy, Chief Lund, and nothing's changed in Gulfport that they can point us to. Matter of fact, Chief Lund took a picture and said, there's no less over here.
Okay.
Matter of fact, they not only have them on the mooring field, but then outside the mooring field. So maybe it's just a regional increase in the overall numbers. I'm not sure, but we have not heard of anyone changing any local, you know, statutes that would push them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are the police, they're still going out there and checking these boats, like, we had them in here that time, the sheriff guys, and are they, you know,
As
they
long
said-
as they can pass that propulsion test, right, they kind of can be there, so.
Yeah.
One guy has 3 out there. Two twin-masted sailboats and a catamaran.
Yeah, I saw him.
You know, he's a boat trader, according to one of my neighbors who paddled up to him on a kayak. He's raising his 2 little kids and dogs on the boat. But the boats are in really nice shape, if that matters. I mean, they both.
They did get rid of that one really junky one, he left, didn't he?
Yeah.
The one with the stuff hanging off the
Yeah.
side.
The Sanford and Son boat.
Well, that's the one that's
So,
sunk.
This goes on and on, I mean, this is for years, there's
Yeah.
nothing we can do. And they say that they're going out there and checking, because we had issues about dumping garbage, and they said, oh yeah, we're taking care of that. And then he said the minute we get off the boat, they can do whatever they want. So,
had, what, I think last count there was 18 Marine deputies in this entire county. Divide that by 2 shifts. I mean, that's a lot of water to cover.
yeah.
So we got the part for the dedicated outside air system. Now we're having some issues with fine tuning. We had to get Alex from IT involved. So the people that installed it, there's a software program that only they could access. So he's gonna get permission for us to access it, and then our HVAC maintenance folks can, apparently you can fine tune it with a computer in ways you can't manually in the system. So he's thinking with those fine tuning, it's working fine. The problem is we have an excessive amount of condensation. So that shouldn't be doing that. So we're still working on that. And then, oh yeah, I was able to, by doing the hurricane, I'm sorry, the storm damage construction finals over at Les Chateau's condos, we were able to set up a hurricane preparedness presentation combined of Chateau Tower and Les Chateau condos. So happy to say one of our better attended events. I did it Monday before I left for the conference, and we had like close to 40 people there, so that was good to see. Some good questions. Still trying to hammer home the point that evacuation is necessary, even if you live in a tall building, right? Because of what happens around you and whatnot. So, you know, I think people are understanding. We're able to show now some of the live footage from both Ian down south and then, of course, Helene here in our own backyard. So it really drives that point home. And what we're telling people is, you know, just have a plan to evacuate tens of miles, not hundreds of miles. It makes it easier in that way. You know, if you need to get back, you can, but at least you're safe during that actual event. So, and then we show them the map of all the places in Pinellas County where you can evacuate, and you don't have to go, you know, out of the county. So, whoops, did it close on you guys?
It's all right.
Anyway, good thing I had a nice screensaver up. But anyway, that's it, unless there's any questions. And I'll fix Guadalupe to Guadagnoli, and then we'll be good to go.
Guadalupe.
Thanks, Chief. Any questions for Chief before he goes? All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Last but not least. Our favorite public works guy.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning.
It always amazes me that, you know, a lot of the complaints that we get are not, they're not ours. They're,
No,
you know,
it's-
they're
it's a
the
lot.
county,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
St. Pete.
Heck, and even some, I don't think this time, but some we get, or I think I did put it in there. We got one that was, it was from the state of California, because we didn't, street sweep, in front of the school. It's like, we don't have a school.
I was like, where's the school?
And Marie called him back. I think she called him back, and, you know, she was like, ma'am, you called Florida.
I was surprised about complaints on the paving
Oh, yeah.
of Shore
No, it
Drive.
just-
because-
Yeah, me too.
I mean, it
I
was
mean,
a,
that is, well, I mean, I saw it when it was done, so it's
yeah,
beautiful.
no,
was
I
a
mean,
day.
it's,
But,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean-
I know they were a couple days. I mean, it is a disaster, but I mean, come on now, you know, you just,
I
you
thought it
gotta
was the
take the
most
good with
efficient
the,
piece of paving I can
take
remember
the good with the
seeing.
bad.
Yeah, ground it down,
Yeah.
pave it, and
And that was,
Striped it.
yeah, and that was it would have been done a day quicker, except for the rain.
Right.
You know, because it was a
yeah, I
one-day
saw
delay for
complaint.
that.
Like, who complained about
Yeah, I
that?
don't know, it's, there's just, you know,
Amazon delivery guy.
people, no, it was,
Residents are lucky to have you.
it's okay.
They're very nice in handling it with.
No, they're good, no, they're good, I mean, it is what it is, you know, it's, you gotta take the good with the bad, you know, you gotta look at the end product.
That's true.
Yeah, so everything's good. Every time I go around the city, I don't see your guys sitting doing anything. I
No,
mean, they're
we be-
always moving.
Better not.
No.
You better not. But nah, we gotta, they make my job easy. You've got a great crew, so that's a benefit, big time. I mean, it's pretty simple. I got a couple things, if you saw some of the stars out there at night, they look great lit up, you know. There was about, 8 of them that are not working. Duke Energy is out there as we speak, fixing those,
So it's not that the star's not working, the power's not.
it's just the power, yeah. No, because some of them have resets. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're we called them yesterday. You know, so that was good. In here, I had a pump go down at lift station 3, and we had it removed. We had a backup, put that installed. We had Xylem, which is the ones that do the repair for that, pick up our pump. And come to find out that on Xylem's, and they sent the wrong pump and this was been in since 2022. You know, we don't install it. We have but obviously they didn't know, and that's why it only lasted 3 years. And they are gonna eat that, and they are gonna send us a brand new pump. That's $18,000 and change worth, so that was nice on their part,
I appreciate it.
you know?
That's great.
But I did order a new one, so that'll give us now a backup pump for each lift station.
Did they give you, what kind of a warranty did they give you on it?
It's usually like a year, I think,
Yeah, not much.
you know, but unless there's an issue, I think, I want to say lift station 5, I think, still has a pump in there that's probably 15 years old. You know, I mean, it just, without issues, you know, they're, you know, but yeah, no, they're pretty good pumps. You know, they come from, I think they're Swedish. They come from Sweden, so it usually takes, I think they said 8 to 10 weeks or 10 to 12 weeks to get. But, and you saw on here, just the last thing, the adaptation plan that we had, that was, you know, when they came for the vulnerability assessment. I'll get that out of there. We were gonna do a grant for that. Well, when they went to apply for the grant, the funding was removed for that for 26, 27, and, so we're just waiting to see if they actually fund it again, or if, you know, they're gonna be done with that, but, I mean, we'll be okay without that. I mean, it's just gonna tell us stuff that we already know, you know? I mean, I have some pricing with the, my water management plan, stormwater management plan that I have, so there's some projects, but, you know, that's not the end of the world right now, because they're expensive projects, and, you know, I think one of them was 10 million, so, you know, we're not gonna be able to do that. But other than that, that's pretty much it.
Any questions for Sean? All right.
All right.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Last but not least, I think I said that about Sean, but I always forget you're up here.
I know, I'm hiding. I'm hiding.
Administrative report.
Okay, let's see here. So we are gonna talk about I know you saw a little bit in there about the project update for City Hall. We'll talk about that when Heather comes back up during budget.
Right.
So jumping down to questions, please make sure you're looking at the calendar because it's a little funky this time of year, and not just quorums are important, but making sure I have enough to vote on certain items are important. At the budget hearings, I need to have a certain number of people more than the quorum. So please, if something comes up, please let me know as soon as possible so that we can try to figure things out. There's a lot of legal notices that go into this, so if I don't have a certain number of people, I'll need to change some things. So please let me know if something's going on in your schedule, especially for the ones in September. We got our renewal rate for staying with the same employee health insurance. It came in at 1.8%, which was fantastic.
Yeah, that was great.
I noted that we had budgeted for 15. We had heard a lot of cities had really high rates coming in for the next fiscal year, so we were thrilled with 1.8. We budgeted 15.
Yeah, that's big.
So I'd like your approval to go ahead and sign to stay with them for another year, if
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yep.
And then I also noted on there, just to make sure that everybody, just for transparency, that this year we are, there's another small incremental increase to the city's contribution toward dependent care. In case you don't remember, we are doing a small incremental increase up to 50%, which would be the following year, and then we plan to stop so that it's a 50-50 split between the city and the employees. We felt that that was a fair place to end up. That's what the union has also bargained for
That was
the.
in the fire contract.
Correct,
so, yeah.
yes. So that contract incrementally works up, and so about a year ago, the commission had workshopped that and agreed to do the same thing for general employees. So just to put that in there, that amount is going up. It's a small expense, we don't have a ton of people using it, but I just wanted to be transparent with that's going up. And then just to let you know, there is an item on the regular commission meeting agenda that Vice Mayor Reed is seeking to be reappointed to the PSTA board. So just wanted to let you all know that if you wanted to discuss it
You're
anymore.
doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
He's been on it, he'd like to stay. So I assume that you all would be supporting that, but I
I would
didn't
hope
put
so.
that out there. That's my assumption.
The other cities did.
Yes, exactly. He's widely supported
That's
and
great.
it's a great thing for the city. Just want to draw your attention to that in case you needed to discuss any of it. That is on for the night meeting for next week. So
Got it.
that's what I just wanted to draw your attention to specifically. But if there's anything else,
Anybody else have anything for us?
Nope.
Thank you so much.
okay.
Okay, now the fun part. Go into the budget.
Budget.
It's nice that you say that's the fun part. Okay, so let's talk really quick before I get into my big report. I want to draw your attention back to the reports that Brandon gave us today. The first one is the little one, the EMS report. Yes, we're in compliance with how we said we're gonna spend the money. I was a little surprised, the bottom line, if you look at the printed page 4, the bottom line is that we did not spend all of the money that they allotted to us. So we owe back $90,062. Last year it was about $45,000. So I guess, in a way, it's better to get more and then have to give it back than not get enough to start with. So that will be an expenditure coming this month. I'd like to pay it this week. We'll send the report in, but it's unusual, out of the ordinary. So that's a big payment that we're gonna pay right
I mean,
away.
is that based on what we think we need for EMS, and then, and that
Yeah.
includes like salaries and
Everything that's
everything that's
allowable.
assigned to the EMS guys?
Yep.
Is there any way that we can spend more of it?
Well, I think this had to do with someone leaving and then you move a lower
Oh, yeah.
person's salary, right? Because that's still a
Right.
major part. But to your initial question, yes, and we're always looking for, better capture of everything we spend and put in that. But the large number the salary benefits is the driver.
So like you have, when you put together the list of guys that are part of that, you put your medics in there?
That's correct, yes.
Always? Okay. So the higher paid, okay. Yeah, I guess somebody leaving, that would make a big difference.
Yeah, there was a promotion, right, and so that paramedic, which is in
A little bit.
position in step plan, you move
Yeah.
the next person up, but there could be, 2, 3, 4-year gap in that step plan.
Had that not happened, would we still have been having to return probably? Yeah.
And that's always the way, right, because what you don't wanna do is sell yourself short, because at the end, if we're over,
That's it.
That's it.
They're not
Comes out of
giving
our
you more.
pocket.
Yeah, they're not
okay.
giving you more.
Yeah, that's true. It just seems like a high number, but
Yeah, but
I get it.
Making sure we cover all expenses, no
Okay.
questions asked. So we would like to see it more towards the number how we spoke of last year, right? Than that, you don't want to get close to 100 grand, but,
Is there any factor like the fact that some of the calls, like the call volume is down, has nothing to do with it? Okay.
it's salary benefit, well, fuel, but right, you're talking.
Yeah.
minuscule.
Only for that rescue vehicle.
Okay. I get it.
And we're really conscientious, so, 75% of DC's salary goes there. He's the EMS coordinator. The same is true anytime we buy like a uniform for him, or if his vehicle has service. There are things that we're picking through all the time and allocating to that department and being conscientious of what we can appropriately post there. The other part of it too is that the EMS budget that we submit to the county comes way before our budget here. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there as well.
So you're like guesstimating a lot.
It's an
Yeah.
educated guess, yes. So that's how it ended up that came in a little high. Like Chief said, there were personnel changes. So somebody leaves at the top salary, somebody, when we consider them now their replacement, they're at a lower amount. And benefits and taxes, and retirement, everything goes on from there. So we've submitted the report, and they want like the actual our audit report as well. So we sent that in. But like I said, we'll cut that check and send it, and we move on. That was just, I wanted to make sure that that's the point, why we have that today. So then, if you go to the attachment that you got for today's agenda, the very first page is, yes.
Okay.
There's
Calling
one,
that an attachment.
yeah, it's a very large attachment. There was one page at the very beginning that is an update, where I kind of wanted to highlight the changes from the last time we spoke. So we have prepared this budget using the millage rate that we are printing on the trim notices. Residents will be getting those. I believe they went out in the mail yesterday, so they'll be getting them any time now. Again, I budgeted at 96% of the ad valorem, as we talked about. But as we go through the general fund budget especially, I have had to adjust many line items, revenue line items. I see Vice Mayor and Commissioner Thompson, you guys are going through quite a bit of information that some of it you've seen, some of it you haven't seen. This is a much more comprehensive budget document than you've had in the past. So a lot of those pages you've seen in some capacity, so I just was going through the changes that I've made. And then we'll go through the stuff that
What
you
page are you
haven't kind of
referencing
seen.
you made change?
I'm looking for it here.
It's the very first.
Looks like this.
No, I'm actually
Yes.
looking for the report.
She's got it. That's the listing of the budget update. It was before that cover
It was
page.
it looks like a memo almost at the front of
Day
it.
to go out.
Friday.
Oh,
Have you got yours under that?
So it would have been the
cover page?
14th. Commissioner went out on the 14th. Do you want a printed copy?
It just,
Commissioner, would you like a printed copy?
Gail, do you want a printed copy?
Would you like a printed
Oh,
copy?
no, I can, if as soon as I find it.
I can just hand it to you right now if you
That's
want.
the page that I was kind of
just
looking
hand it
at.
to her.
Would you like it?
Gail, turn around.
Okay.
All right.
So we've discussed all the other
Yeah.
changes. The legal fees, we talked about, a COLA increase for them. We estimated $20,000 for non-retainer work.
And I can speak to that if you'd like. I did an analysis of the past, I think it was 7 years of non-retainer work, and 20 was about an average, if not a little over. And considering we have, you know, some issues that might come up in November with the election and everything, I just wanted to make sure there was plenty in the budget for that. And then in terms of the 3%, in order to just maintain the rates that we have with the city right now, I'm going to request when our contract is up for renewal, a COLA increase. That's what the 3% indicates. CPI, excuse me, not COLA.
Yeah, I think I said COLA too. We talked about it today in Terry's report. She needs at least $35,000 for the building permit fee analysis. It's in next year's budget because we're just so late in this year that we don't believe that any substantial work's going to be done in the next month on that, so it belongs in next budget year. No strategic plan for the fire department. The city administrator role being separate from the city clerk with the steps that we had discussed. Changes to the library card reimbursement and the expected participation in that. The senior services, reduction to that line item. And then, like Carly mentioned in her administration report today, we were pleased that the health insurance is only increasing 1.8. So that was a change from the last time I showed you the general fund budget. I took out the 15 and only increased it 1.8. And the additional, not very many, we're not paying for a lot of dependent coverage. Most everybody is just the employee coverage. But for those few, we will increase our contribution to 45% now. FRS finally came out with their pension contribution rate, so all those changes were incorporated among the departments. And then if we move down to the capital improvement fund, I purposely did not include any FEMA revenue because I don't feel confident enough in estimating a good number. Hopefully, like we've talked about, we will get revenue from that in fiscal year 27. It's much more conservative to leave that out, so that's the approach that I've taken. All of the capital projects that you guys have discussed at our last budget workshop have been removed. And then the big one is finally at the bottom of this page. We met with our insurance company. They had an appraiser come out, and they did an appraisal of this building, and it's substantially higher than the amount that we had previously been using from the property appraiser. What that means for us is that we have a lot more spending capability here without getting over the FEMA's 50%. So in talking with everyone, we felt that it's much more conservative to just fix this building. There are priority projects that the building department and public works have talked about that we need to do here to stay. We kind of are envisioning that in October 1st, 2038, when the fire station is paid for, we would like to have a new city hall project in the works to kind of replace that debt payment with a new one. With the state of everything and the property tax legislation, I don't feel comfortable moving forward with a $15 million construction project at this time. Coupled with the fact that the state didn't give us the $3 million we asked for, that wouldn't have even really made a big difference. Yeah. So we're all disappointed. We don't want to not have a nice, beautiful building, but I think that it's the most responsible thing to do at this time.
Retrofit this or reconfigure it or best it'll work.
Yeah.
Do we know if we're going to be able to use that 500,000?
So we don't know for sure. In speaking with the lobbyists, they seemed pretty confident.
Okay.
There's a couple of different ways that you can pivot a little bit. We're not the first,
Sure.
first group that this has happened to. So there's at least two different ways. One, we can basically ask to still get it, let them know that the project is changing, but that the spirit of the project is still the same.
Right.
There are still mitigation expenses that the funding would be used toward.
Okay.
So the spirit of it is still there. So there is the possibility that we would still get it within this cycle if they approve that.
Okay.
If they don't approve that, you can also basically say, okay, you had awarded us this money, but you're not going to give it to us in this year because the project's changing. and I'm paraphrasing, so this is not the official language in describing this process, but you can ask them to basically earmark it for the following budget year as sort of an automatic approval of like, we were gonna
Okay.
give you 500,000 last year, you couldn't use it for that project, but we're gonna save you 500,000. So basically, we would resubmit with the project being retrofitting this building and
Okay.
mitigating existing building, and then it's more of it's a quicker review process because they technically already approved you for something else that you didn't
Sure.
end up spending.
Makes sense.
So they said between those two options, we have a pretty good chance of still getting that money. It's not a guarantee, but we've got a pretty decent chance from what they've
Okay.
said. So,
That works.
So we're saying we can do 1.3 million to redo this building?
Yes,
And
and so.
based on the evaluation of the other audit?
but we can spend up to almost 1.6, but our estimates are that we would be getting about 1.3 in funding back if you put that 500,000 together with what we expect to get from insurance.
And this is
So-
separate from retrofitting the old fire station?
Correct.
For
project.
use
Correct,
over
that's
there?
a separate project.
And I guess you budgeted whatever Terry,
Or something,
okay,
yeah.
thought we could do. Okay, sounds
Yeah, so
good.
with this, the way that this budget has been prepared, so we have the 500,000 that we're still hoping the state will allow us to use, and then about 840,000 from insurance, the insurance claim for this building. And then, if it turns out that the city does have to kick in some money, there is a contingency of 50,000 in the budget for capital projects this year. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I really appreciate the work that Terry and Sean have put in on this. They've already been, brainstorming and reaching out to vendors and getting quotes for different things. Like the priority projects here are going to be getting the elevator operable. The danger of the electrical panels and things downstairs, those need to be elevated to protect them from any more storm damage. I just want you guys to know, we're not planning on having any more big storms. So, just so that that's out there, I want that out in the universe.
And there's an awful lot of space here that's not utilized anymore.
Yeah.
Reconfiguration can really do a lot.
It won't be ideal, but it could be better than what we have right now. It could definitely be more functional than what we have
Yeah.
right now,
Good.
so.
So that's going to be the biggest change from what we had talked about in our budget workshops to what the budget is in front of you here today. So we can move on. I'd like to thank our marketing department for the beautiful page dividers with our pictures of our city on them. The table of contents will kind of point you in the right direction as you go through. Again, there's documents with it, or aspects of this budget document that you hadn't had before, the budget message and policies. Please read through that and the organizational structure. We're going to bring you an updated draft of the city organizational chart that will represent the way that this budget has been presented has the administrator separate from the clerk, and then what that does to the reporting, and supervisory things. So that will go there. The budget calendar you've seen. The next big thing for the budget calendar is this coming Tuesday meeting. First reading of the budget ordinance, we'll go over that. And then the public meetings, which Carly pointed out, it's really important for the attendance. Going past that is an explanation of millage rates. That's where it talks about that 4% and the tax certificate sales and that. I really like the graph on that page because it shows you where your tax payments are going. So that breaks down all the residents in South Pasadena, the tax rates by agency. Going past that, stop me if you guys have any questions or comments. I'm just going. The next page you've seen before in our millage discussion, I'm still proposing the 10% increase to 5.8106. You can see the taxable value trend where we've decreased in the past few years. And then if you go to printed page 9, This, we can spend a few minutes, I'd like to go over this. This is a budget summary for all funds. So you can see on this, concise little chart where ad valorem it's a big deal here. We've talked about it and talked about it. Even with that increase in millage, I'm proposing that you're going to need to use $532,670 of the general fund reserves. Part of that is because if at the very bottom of the general fund column, you can see that $310,000 is needing to be transferred to the capital projects fund. So in order to make that transfer and pay everything that we've laid out here, you're going to be tapping into prior year reserves, even with the increase in millage. That's a big, important point to consider. This page here is very similar to the advertisement that we need to be submitting to the newspaper within the next couple weeks in the middle of our budget hearings. So as long as we have your blessing, I'm going to move forward in doing that. We'll talk about, at this upcoming Tuesday's meeting, we'll talk about the sewer and reclaim rates, which I'd like to bring that up today. In concept, we had talked about previously that, Pinellas County sets the rate for reclaimed water, the city of St. Pete sets the rate for sewer, and we are going to have to pass along those costs to the customers in South Pasadena. So those ordinances that I've prepared mimic those increases. Once you get into the details, all the whereases of them, it has a lot of explanations in there, but that's it. They're passing on costs to us, we have to pass those along as well.
Was the reason we didn't do that because we were afraid of a huge jump over the years? I mean, I know I've been at all these meetings, and I remember, St. Petersburg was raising the rates for this or for that, and we just never really.
Raised less than them.
We never really we didn't really look at it as a total pass-through.
So I think Jim sometimes would not want to do something every single year, so he would say, well, let's absorb it for a year or two and then do another one. It's just,
That kind of got us in trouble.
it's a difficult thing. I mean, it's not an easy process to do every single year. It's just not. And so I think if he thought we could get by without doing it, he was comfortable with that, to try to not hit people with stuff all the time. The tough part is it's tough to say, okay, here, this is an increase. These numbers are very small. When you're actually looking at the dollars and cents of it, it's very, very
of what it's
small.
gonna cost.
I mean, we're talking $1 here, $1 there. I mean, it's not that money is, but you care that it's an increase, but these are pennies we're talking about. So, I think some years he just thought, let's just absorb it and not go through the process. But the problem is you can only do that so far. Yeah, you can only do it so far.
Then we had a pretty significant increase one year to catch up for all
To catch up, yeah.
So I'd like to just pass it through as it comes in.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I mean, to echo what Carly's saying, like for your reclaimed water rates, this is typed out in the ordinance that we'll be seeing next Tuesday. To give you an idea of what we're talking about, right now you're paying $11.88 monthly for residential customers. This increase will change that to $13.66. So,
Less than $2.
yeah.
and then for sewer, part of this, let me back up a little bit. Part of this budget process that I've gone through is I look at the consumption. That's an important thing to notice. So for years, your water, your sewer and your reclaimed water consumption had gone up and up and up. 2024 was the highest year. That was right before the hurricanes. And, the previous finance director had no reason to know that was going to happen when he did the 25 budget. And then, he had every reason to believe that in 26, people were going to be back. We didn't know that the fountains in Lutheran Towers were not going to be in there flushing toilets. And we didn't know that there was going to be a drought where you're not allowed to water your grass. So those things need to be taken into consideration, and I have adjusted my projections for consumption, trying to consider that. So I do think that the use is going to be higher than we've seen, especially in '25. You know, there was not a lot of people here. So I kind of had to balance that in the way that I prepared this budget. But I do think that it's necessary to pass along the full increase from those other agencies. So that's kind of, in theory, what I've done with those two enterprise funds. So,
Yeah, the same figures on sewer that you had on reclaimed, like 1188 to 1366.
oh yeah, I have it, yep.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So sewer goes from, so that, the sewer rate is a 5% increase, and it's going to cost $9.05 for a single family, including mobile home. Up from, let me see what the last year's rate was. I have to search back. That one we don't print, it was this and it's changing to this, I don't believe. I can look it up and I
Well,
can
it's
get back
5%,
to you.
we kind of extrapolate
Yeah,
backwards.
right.
Not much.
Well, and also on that same budget summary, you'll see that in the sewer fund and the reclaimed water fund, I've not projected any use of prior year reserves. So based on these modest increases and the change in consumption, I don't believe that any of the prior year reserves are going to need to be tapped into. I think that we can cover our costs for this year. So that's a positive thing. And then kind of going back to the capital projects fund, as I mentioned, $310,000 is going to be transferred from the general fund to cover those costs. And then $310,765 of prior year reserves is expected to be used. So basically, you know, split the difference between the general fund and the capital projects fund to cover for the year. So we can move on. I promise I'm going to go as fast as I possibly can through this. One thing that I wanted you to look at is page 12, and I do apologize, it's kind of small font. We had not looked at the general fund revenues before today. I was kind of dragging my feet on the state-derived revenue because I was hoping that they would give their estimates. The last time I checked, they were not yet available. You know, as we all know, the state budget process took longer than normal. Their numbers came out much later. And the only number that they were able to provide was the state revenue sharing. So I've used their estimate for that. But the rest of the revenue sources, what I did was I looked at last year's budget to actual, the 25 audit report that Brandon discussed this morning. And then I looked at the trends for 26, the year that we're currently in. And what I found is that there are a lot of line items that were budgeted higher than what the actuals are. And again, the same premise that we talked about with the ad valorem taxes, I don't feel comfortable counting on money that I don't really have basis to believe that we're going to collect. So you'll see a lot of these line items on that page, they're decreases. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we'll get a lot more than I think. But I want to be as conservative as possible. If you have any specific questions on these line items, we can talk about it. But I would like you to, if you've got your audit from last year, I can just show you on mine. I have it turned to the page. It's page 76 in the audit report for last year. And what this is the general fund's budget to actual. So there's, you know, ad valorem, the original budget and amended budget, our actual collections, and then a variance. Well, your ad valorem, you were under budget last year. And the same is true for utility taxes and electric franchise fees and local business tax. There are a lot of line items. And so in my analysis of 25 and now, you know, projecting we're almost through 26, I needed to decrease quite a few of those.
Okay.
So those changes have been incorporated here. if you go to the next page, I do feel like the interest, and this is true across all funds, our investments have been performing well. So I did increase the revenue that I expect from those. And then when you go further on into this is a page for every single department. Everybody has different colors. I hope you guys are happy with your color scheme.
Oh, yeah, when we did the initial budget, when we had these, it was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah, so, and this is the same, essentially the same as what we looked at in the
Yeah.
budget workshop without the comments out to the side. I'll update those and I'll send them to each department so that they can have a better idea of what vendors are making up those balances. You'll sign the contract with Pinellas County Sheriff. That amount has been incorporated into this budget. The fire and EMS departments come after that. Nothing other than those highlighted changes that I talked about in the beginning. You've seen all this before. I did include some new graphs and visual aids for each fund. The biggest change as we go forward through this report is, like we talked about in the capital improvement fund, with that big project being taken out. We've maintained, like you asked about, Commissioner, the renovation of the old fire station. We still think that that's a smart move to accommodate our growing building department, parking and all. We have some, stormwater improvements. We did remove the stormwater adaptation plan like Sean talked about in his department report today, which is such a shame, but it is what it is. And then going all the way back, there's a lot of pages in the capital projects fund because each project has a page. After that is the sewer and reclaim funds at the end, which you hadn't seen the revenues and expenses all in one place like this. So that'll be the first time you're seeing that today. So I am saying that I expect for sewer a $66,000 increase to cover our ever increasing costs there. Sorry, Commissioner, I'm on page 72 now. If I'm going too fast, I'm sorry. So we outline in the sewer fund, we're expecting, potentially some costs for sewer lines, lateral lines, and then a pump replacement potentially. So $150,000 investment in our sewer system. We do allocate some of public works salaries, so you'll see in both of the enterprise funds, the sewer and the reclaimed, there is personnel services being charged to those. I've followed the previous finance director's allocation. This guy at an hour a day, 5 days a week at this pay rate. It's a pretty detailed analysis that he had gone through, so I did that as well. And the same is true. Some money is being charged to the reclaimed water fund for those guys' efforts, which the reclaimed water fund is on, and I can't scroll fast enough, page 79. So again, similarly to the sewer fund, I hadn't put this all in front of you all at once like this, but this is how we end up. I do like the format of this because you can see the total fund balance. And that would agree to your audit report. It shows, last year's results, what we're budgeting for this year that we're currently in, and then what would happen if this budget holds true for the upcoming year.
Can we go back to page 73?
Sure.
Sure, I'm misunderstanding something, but it shows an overall. Oh, never mind. Forget it. I know what I'm looking at. All good.
So the reclaim water fund, there's not a whole lot of activity, just, technical maintenance things. I do allocate some of the finance department's overhead to these funds as well. We're looking at things and doing analysis and things like that. And then some money is in there for contingencies if necessary. So that takes us pretty much to the end of this budget report. If you have any questions or need clarification, our address is here. You know where to find me. But I do need to notify the City of St. Pete for for the utility bills. What I'm going to tell them is, the 5% increase for the sewer and the 15% increase for the reclaimed. That will go out in a mailer with your utility bills. And then we're shooting for an effective date of November 1st for those rates to change on the customer accounts.
Any idea how those rates affect condos, since we have so many of them compared to single families?
No, I
Probably
don't-
about the same percentage, I would guess.
Oh, it's the same percent, yeah.
Yeah, it's all rolled into a condo fee, you don't see that bill, so. Till your board raises your condo fee. So, okay. All right, does anybody have any questions for Heather?
That was a lot of information.
It is, a lot of good,
Appreciate
and
you
the
listening.
presentation, the
Not a
format is.
single page of handwritten notes.
Shots fired. No, that is,
Yeah.
You did a good job.
Thank
I
you.
love it, it really is easy to read.
Comprehensive,
Very
very
good,
good.
very
Thank
good.
you very much, I appreciate it.
It's a lot of work. And I like the visuals, I
Yeah.
do. Well, yeah, because you kind of look at it and know you're looking at numbers all the time, but you really see.
Yeah, the
the
graphs, the
breakdown.
charts, really
How
helpful.
it is. I
So, great
appreciate
job across
that.
the board for everybody involved. It really is nice. Does anybody have any other questions or concerns or any information? All right, Carly, do you have anything? We are adjourned.
Wow. Just go back.